My Yankees, the Royal we, are in a deadlocked battle with Baltimore for the first place slot in the American League East. That ultimately will decide who takes the division, not who goes to the playoffs. Both teams will end up in the playoffs at this point, whether it be the first seed wild card opportunity or the division lead opportunity. And you can sit here and say whether one is better than the other all day long. I think everybody wants a division title. But given the bye scenario in the playoff formatting, it has proven less than desirable. So I do think that's worth taking note of as we look at this half a game that they're battling over right now. And I've done a full breakdown for you on some details that I think are super interesting about the two teams involved, the Yankees and the Orioles. So let's start with the Yankees. Okay, my Yankees. Since the All-Star break, here's some details. They have played 8 series. They've Two of them have been losses. They lost to the Mets. They lost a series to the Angels. They've had 5 series wins: Red Sox, Phillies, Jays, Rangers, and White Sox. They've won series against all of those teams. Now, we all know some of those losses, those single game losses, should have been wins. I don't know how you can wake up in the morning after losing 12-1 to the White Sox. I don't understand that. Make it make sense. If Brad was here, he wouldn't be able to make sense of it either, and I don't think Aaron Boone can make any sense of it. Quite frankly, we as Yankees fans are disgusted, I think is probably the most appropriate term. Everybody else was laughing at our expense. Also disgusting for those of us who are Yankees fans. If you're not a Yankees fan, you probably thought it was the greatest thing ever to watch the worst team in baseball in decades beat one of the best teams in baseball, and one with such a chip on its shoulder as the Yankees always do. Just, it rocked my world. Even though they won the series, I couldn't put up with that loss. All right. They did split a series with the Rays as well. So that is how the last 8 series have gone for the New York Yankees. They've outscored opponents 144-130. Again, like that big White Sox game where they gave up 12. That does not help. And that was not an isolated incident. They've had some high-scoring games where it's either been tied, or where they've either split the series or won the series, but some big high-scoring games that they've ended up losing. It turns out that they're better on the road than they are at home by a margin. It's a small margin, but it's a noteworthy margin, and it'll come into play here in a moment. When they play teams who are over 500, they're sitting at 41-27. So they're better against better teams, and they seem like they play worse against not great teams. Case in point, the Angels. How do you lose a series to the Angels? I don't understand. And I know that we were in a skid, but we kind of came out of it, the All-Star break, so things have been better. But it's like if the Angels, with the season they're having, can poke holes in the Yankees, then that's going to write the playbook for everybody else. They're going to know what holes to punch deeper into. They still maintain a plus 118 run differential, which is fantastic, but you can't do that if you're averaging 14.71 men left on base per game. They're averaging 14 runners on base that are just stranded every game. It's disgusting. That puts them at 21 out of 30. That's why the 118 run differential doesn't exactly make me sit pretty. I'm not completely content with that, because even when we get runners on, it doesn't exactly matter. Ugh. The last 3 games, they've left 22 men on base, just in the last 3 games alone. Okay, let's look at Baltimore. Since the break, they've played 9 series. They've had 3 series wins: Rangers, Jays, Rays. 3 series losses: Marlins, Padres, and a second series against the Jays. And they've split 2 series: Cleveland and the Nationals. They've split series with. They've outscored their opponents only by 10 runs, 136 to 126. They perform relatively the same, whether they're at home or away. They are losing series to teams that they should beat and then winning series against teams they should win against. So that's great if you're a Baltimore fan. They're 33-23 versus teams over 500. That's not bad. They've got a plus 90 run differential. And lucky for the Yankees, Baltimore leaves an average of 14.49 runners on base average per game. They're 19th out of 30. Not as bad as 21, but the disparity there isn't as stark as you maybe think it would be. Now, let's look at the series they've played against one another. We all know that's relevant. If it comes down to a tiebreaker, we're going to look at the series that they've played against one another during division play in the regular season. So, July 12th through the 14th, New York Yankees won the series 2-1. The Yankees outscored the Baltimore Orioles 15 runs to 8 in that July series. Back to the June series, 18th to 20th of June. The Yankees lost that series 2-1. 15 runs for the Yankees, 26 runs for the Orioles. Back in April, 29th through May 2, New York Yankees 1 game, Baltimore 3 games out of that series. The Yankees scored a meager 6 runs. Baltimore scored 13. Now, that's a far way back, but it's still relevant, like I said. Now, they will meet one last time. There is another 3-game series coming up September 24, 25, and 26. This will be in the Boogie Down in the Bronx. Okay? It is the second to last series of the season. And so what you're going to end up with is a playoff primer, basically. It could literally all come down to those 3 games. And then potentially, a lot's going to get decided in those 3 games. But the final series that each team plays once they break from one another, New York is going to play Pittsburgh at home. Baltimore will play Minnesota in Minnesota. That's how the AL East is stacking up right now. It is astonishing. It is neck and neck, and everything seems to be moving at a breakneck pace. Both teams win or lose largely within 1 day of each other, if not on exactly the same day. They are keeping pace with one another, and it is nerve-wracking. Either team, either fan base, literally on pins and needles the whole time, just waiting for September 24th to see what's going to happen. If the trend continues, it really will all come down to that 3-game series at the end of September. Unbelievable.